Happy to see everyone. And this is the second event. We organized another event a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, to talk more about different types of visas. Just a disclaimer, guys, this is only applicable for those of you who has spent more than 2 years in their home countries after returning from the UK after the tuning year. So that's very important. Today we are going to, it will be, Anna will introduce herself and it will be more like a Q&A session with a little presentation. And I'm happy, Anna, over to you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Today, it's going to be designed very practical and honest. We're going to talk about global talent and other work-related routes a bit, just most importantly, to see how professionals, founders actually decide which paths to choose. And then you're going to able to ask me questions. So, couple important announcements. If you have any questions as we go, please drop them in the chat. A lot of information today, so don't try to hold it everything in your head. Just write down, and we'll come back to this later. So my voice also has been playing a bit up today, so please bear with me. Another thing Olga mentioned, I'm not actually legal like solicitor advisor, so like I'm in immigration sphere, so information shared today reflects industry practice and my experience with hundreds of founders and IT professionals. So, agenda, what we'll look at today. So, how people relocate to the UK, what criteria really matter when you choose a path. By the way, not only relocate, but change the routes within UK, because I'm not sure how many are you actually based in the UK. We work lots of people with people who are moving from skilled worker to global talents. Second, how global talent works in practice. How to assess your readiness, what are the real timelines, finally some practical tips and also Q&A. Presentation itself, it's like 20 minutes and then you will be able to ask questions like 40 minutes later. So about, yep, someone, okay. If you can mute yourself for the, I think it will help others, just 1 second. So yeah, let's move on. So about me, before we dive in, I'll briefly introduce myself. So I'm founder and CEO of Beyond Tech. I lived in UK myself for 12 years and went through relocation myself. So over the last few years, we with the team, me and my team, we supported more than 100 founders and IT professionals in the global talent. And I personally actually calculated over 400 strategy consultation for assessments, which are free. So we also work behind the scenes with UK solicitors and consultancies on complex global talent routes. So everything I'll share today comes directly from real insights and patterns. So thanks, Olga, again for inviting me today. And let's move further. So why UK? People don't choose UK just because of the visa. Obviously, they choose it because of the ecosystems. The UK has one of the Europe's strongest venture capital markets, dozens of accelerators, government-backed programs, and such as CIS and AS. I think most of you know about them, but if you have any questions about this, also you can ask me as well. So immigration routes only make sense when the market itself is attractive, which many people choose UK for. So at a high level, most professionals, they choose three broad categories, right? We have employer-sponsored routes, we have founder or innovation routes, and we have talent-based visas like global talent. Each has very different trade-offs, and that's what we'll unpack next. So before choosing any visa, I always encourage people to step back and think at the very start of our application, like consultations. So what's your long-term settlement plan? How flexible you want your career to be? Do you have any family who is coming with you dependents? It's very important. Do you meet English requirements? Is investment needed? And how fast is the process? What you're actually aiming for? And last one is how easy to extend your visa or apply for settlement. So those questions really matters before you dive into the visa process, which takes months. Skilled worker, just briefly 2 slides to give a context, because obviously global talent is the most flexible route, but we need to see what other routes are. So skilled worker, it's the most familiar route, right? It's employer sponsored, comes with salary thresholds, ties your visa to a specific job. You have your minimum salary threshold at 41,700. It's lower for new entrants or graduates. For many people, it's a great first step into the UK. It's stable and predictable, but it limits flexibility in changing employers means starting new application. So, but to be clear, most people start with this route and then switch inside the country. So it's important to understand trade-offs before moving further. Second route, innovator founder, designed for entrepreneurs, innovator founder. I know you guys had a different call regarding this. So designed for early stage business, often idea pre-revenue stage requires endorsement for the business itself. It can lead to faster settlement, actually, same as global talent, but it's more controlled. So your business plan is monitored, and every change that you actually want to make, you need to run with an endorsing body for approval. So it's very early stage and focusing on the future. In comparison, global talent focuses on your individual contribution and on the past. So specifically, past 5 years, that's what we are looking for. So when we put this route side by side, we see very different profiles emerge around sponsorship, flexibility, English level requirements, investment expectations, and obviously settlement strategy. But most important, I think, settlement path and business ownership. So there is no one universal visa, but only what fits at your stage right now. So this brings me to something I hear constantly regarding global talents. So 8 out of 10 like assessment calls, they start with something, I don't think I'm talented enough. I don't think I have this awards, publicity. In reality, that's rarely true. Most of the time, the issue is not in experience, but in positioning. That's so global talent, what it actually is, it's merit-based visa, not tied to employer. It works through two-stage process. Stage one is applying for endorsement. Stage two is applying or switching for visa if you're applying within the country. You can receive global talent in three ways. So it's science, culture, and IT track. Our team focuses specifically on science and IT. We don't do culture. Why most people, what are the benefits? So this this is why many people are drawn to global talent. It offers independence from employers, so you don't need any sponsorship. You are free to work, to open your company, multiple companies. It's kind of give you flexibility to change roles, the ability to build companies and do self-employment, freelance, anything you want. And obviously, it leads to faster settlement in 3 or 5 years for the main applicant. For the dependents, it's a different timeline. So also, it combines with skilled worker. Many of you might know, but you don't lose your years. So if you spend 2 years on skilled worker and you switch for global talent and spend 1 year, so you can receive your settlement in just 3 years. So for many people, it's actually a game changer. Two categories, two endorsement categories. We have exceptional promise and exceptional promising talent and exceptional talent. So promising talent is typically for emerging leaders early in their career, and talent is for established leaders with senior impact. What it actually means in practice, how we differentiate, it's a year of your graduation. I also get a lot of questions. So if I graduated master's just I don't know 2 years ago, can I still apply for promise? Yes, you can. So if you have less than 5 year experience after your last graduation, you still can apply for exceptional like promise. But it also works other way around. For example, we have majority of our applicants who are eligible for promise, but their achievements are so strong enough, so we apply them for talent visa. So then they can receive their settlements in just 3 years. So it really depends on your impact and achievements. What makes a strong case? So this a strong case is they actually what technician want to see. Technician is endorsing body for IT route. They want to see leadership, innovation, and your independent recognition. but what it means. They want to see what changed because of your work. How did you influence the sector, and what does your profile, public profile, what you do outside of the job, how you basically change the industry. So here I would like to stop for a bit. So when we explain the global talent, in most cases, I will speak as an application divided into three blocks. And I usually start with publicity first. If we are looking at application and it's minimum 11, maximum 15 documents, you have 3 pages for each document. So out of 15 documents, um, you will dedicate 5 to 6 to public profile, 4 to your work projects, and then 5 to CV, person statement, and 3 letters of recommendation. And one of the biggest mistakes that applicants do, they start with personal statement and letter of recommendation, and then move to work projects and public profile. So this,
Just one
yeah,
comment. People
mhm.
asking to slow down a little bit
Okay.
because yes, requires
Sure.
some time to digest. Yeah, thanks so much.
Sure. I know it's a lot of information. Usually we try to cover. We actually cover all of this during our 20 minutes assessment calls. But okay, I will slow down.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so um, what makes a strong case? Thank you, Olga, because I don't see the screen. So, what makes a strong case? Again, I will slow down because I don't actually know, guys, what kind of stage you are. I think it will help me if you will drop just in the maybe in the chat, so I will understand what kind of stage you are in. So, yeah, what makes a strong case? The strong cases show leadership, innovation, and your independent recognition, right? Um, Simply in simple terms, it's what changed because of your work, right? How did you influence the sector, the tech sector, the IT sector, and what does your profile, public profile, how you individually contributed? So not only work, but also publicity. We'll go into detail deeper in next few slides. Just this is very general information. So each global talent application is minimum 11, maximum 15 documents. So you can't upload more than 15. And you have 3 pages for each documents. So if you multiply 15 by 3, so you have 45 pages as every other applicant to show that you're a talent. The problem or the things that we're trying to solve, that for these 45 pages you can't include anything extra. So for example, your work agreement, your employer contract, your anything additional. So you have only 45 pages. So that's why we encourage applicants to think strategically. So first think what you already have, then come up with a strategy, and then start to write a document. So the first mistake would be go directly to drafting your documents. So that would be my advice. So never try to start with a drafting your personal statement, CV, or letter of recommendation. Start to think and gather all information that you have. But we'll do the exercise later, and you will see how are you eligible and what are the missing gaps. Key numbers and trends, just to understand how many visas are issued, how many grants. So global talent visa is actually not very like big comparing to skilled worker. So it's still very niche, but it's steady and growing, and you can see it on the screen. So the grants in 2024, it's been issues like 2000 global talent visas per quarter free, and you can see numbers on 2022 and 23, which obviously we are increasing in terms of talents. Thousands of visas global talent issued each year, which consistently with consistent growth. But to give you perspective, skilled workers are around 180,000 visas per year. So it's still very niche. Um, weak points. So some of the myths that I've been hearing, I need awards, I don't have any. I must be famous, I don't have any Forbes application, or global talent is only for academics. Everything that I mentioned now is not true. If you have or heard anything else, you can also write it down. We'll go one by one during Q&A. The thing with global talent, I think it changes a lot. Even like during the year, you can see how the guidance is changing. If your friend, for example, or more senior, like your employer, applied for global talent and received refusal, it doesn't mean that you can't receive global talent. Um, the problem itself, as I said before, in positioning and what kind of documents you, what kind of evidence you have. So don't try to yeah, don't try to compare yourself with someone who applied before. Try to compare what kind of documents they had and what how they positioned themselves. So what actually can help you with the application? It's your publicity, and it's your speaking engagements, your articles, specifically in pre-moderated platforms. So we don't include Medium and LinkedIn. So anything that has a real human moderation when you apply, for example, in Hacker on a Hubber with your article, they will moderate it and then they will either approve it or decline. So this will be considered as a legit article for global talent visa. Advisory roles, nonprofits, mentorship, or advisory. So if you advise some startup or founder, someone outside of your workspace for some period of time, this will count. What they are looking for, that you did it for free, not as a paid activity, and that you did it not one as a one-off, but for a period of time. So these two things actually matters. Open source work. This is very common within software engineers. So GitHub profiles matters, but what here they look at forks, at stars, something again that shows impact. In everything, I will be coming back to impact and your achievements. So it's basically in every point. Media mentions as well. So if you have interviews or mentions your individually, not your company, this will count. Again, I will dive deep later in the public publicity, just to give you something. So this slide is dedicated to something that actually enhance your application. We have myths and we have something that enhance. Typical weak points, evidence formatting. As I said, more than 3 pages. Again and again, if you preparing your application, make sure that it's within 3 pages. Recommendation letters, it's one of the greatest things for refusals, why they refuse, because they are look the same. The recommendation letters should be different because they are written from the different people. Obviously, the formatting should be different. Narrative gaps. When you create the case as a strategy, you need to write it as a storytelling. Like, so each of your documents, 15 of them, should be combined. So they should create one story. So it's very different from applications for nomad visa, for Spain visa, for French visa, when you basically have 15 documents that are not related to each other. So you should have some narrative and combining your documents as a one story. And lack of individual public contribution, sorry, this is obviously the most common mistakes now. So when people receive a refusal, the first question I will ask, how many activities, public activities you included? Most of the applicants think around 4 to 5. We aiming usually with our applicants minimum at 10. So it's very important how many publicity you have before you start preparing the case. Um, this this is some practical tips. As I said, we'll do the exercise and we'll come. I think it will just get easier later. Typical timelines. I also think this is important. It's very depends on the applicant. So if you already have a strong public profile, global talent can move relatively quickly. So usually it's 14 weeks, which is 3 months of preparation, and then up to 2 months of your global talent endorsement. So the 8 weeks is the maximum that they make a decision. If you don't have any publicity, sometimes it's become 12 or 18-month projects because you need to create publicity for the last 2 or 3 years. So preparation stage usually defines the timeline, not the home office. So this is very dependent on every applicant. Um, Now it becomes more practical. I think this where it becomes more interesting. So, um, if you want to know and or you're at the stage asking yourself, so am I eligible for this visa or not? So to understand your eligibility, you can open your LinkedIn. If you don't have LinkedIn, just you can open your CV. So you need to look at your last 5 years and exactly 5 years because more than 5 years they will not allow to include. But if you have 5 years of experience, we'll look at everything you have. So out of this 5 years, you will need to write down all of the companies you have. And then the next question is, what is the core activity of this company? Is this product led or non-product led? And this is very important because if it's product led, this is what is product led also. I will stop here. The product led, if the core business of the company comes from a software, from a SaaS solution, or from anything that is designed inside the company, right? The product itself. So the good example would be anything that you have on your iPhone as an application. The fund companies, Meta, Instagram, WhatsApp, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, any game dev, any company that creates a product. So if this is what you have in your CV, well done. Then both technical and business applicants um, can apply for this visa. If you are in the scenario when, for example, you have consulting agencies, freelance, or non product companies, this is very it becomes tricky. So the idea is you need to show your agency work as a product led, and there are ways to basically show it. Just it will become more trickier. So 5 years, we draft your companies, and then the idea to see what is the core activity of the company. Is it product? Is it marketplace? Is it, for example, non-product activity? The next step would be to understand what is your role. So Technation Guide divides role between technical and business. So for technical roles, you have software engineers, ML, UX, UI, and lots of others. For the business roles, you have product, performance marketing, operation, everything that helps to drive the business in business wise. There are a set of roles that are not eligible. I think it's two or three of them only. So basically, it would be HR recruitment or QA. If you are a tester, unfortunately, you wouldn't be eligible. Most of the other roles, they are eligible. So again, if you open your LinkedIn and look at your five years, you need to write down your companies, the core activity, and then your role. Once you did this, you pretty much will understand are you eligible or not. So the best personas that the easiest ones obviously is tech applicant from tech company, product-led company. So if you're a software engineer or ML engineer from Meta or any product-related companies, well done, you are eligible. A bit more trickier, but also we can use it if you are tech applicant from non-tech company. So for example, if you work in real estate, in construction, but you've been developing some software inside the company, this will also work. The first option, which are business applicants, if you work in product-led company and you're a business applicant, you're eligible. If you work in non-product led company and you're a business applicant, this unfortunately you can't apply for this visa. If you work in consulting agencies, freelance, again, this need to be assessed separately because it really matters what kind of project you do inside of the company. I hope this makes sense. If not, let me check the chat because I know it's tricky and
There
it's
are quite
very,
few questions,
yeah.
but I suggest we finish the presentation and then we start walking through the question.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, most of the basically stage one is to understand eligibility and if you can apply for this visa. I don't suggest to prepare the documents, and I see it's a lot if like you're IT consultant. You will prepare the documents, you will get rejected, and then you will not understand why. The idea is to make this, to understand that you're eligible. Once you understand that you're eligible, you can move to projects and to publicity, to building your case, building your strategy.
Just
Mhm.
one more question. So you pretty much covered the technical track, but there are
Yeah,
quite a
yeah.
few people
Business.
on the academia and art
Mm,
track here
yeah.
as well. So is the process significantly different for the academia and for the art people, or it's
Yeah.
pretty much the same?
Thank you. For science people, the most important thing is PhD. So I know there are different routes. So that in science, basically there are two endorsing bodies and multiple types of applications. Most majority of our applicants apply through peer reviewed, and even though the endorser writes that PhD or equivalent of PhD can be considered. We always ask for PhD because this is basically the first document they ask. So if you're applying for science route, I would suggest you to do two things. So first thing is to see whether you have completed PhD in your country. It could be internationally as well. The second thing, if you are active in the science sphere, in the academia, because if you finished your PhD and you haven't been contributing, for example, articles or speaking engagement for the last 5 years, unfortunately, you likely be refused, because in academia, it's pretty, and in culture, it's pretty much the same. So you have your publicity, which is very important.
But meaning like if there is no PhD, because there's actually quite exact question about it in our chat. So if you don't have the completed PhD, most probably you'd get rejected.
Yes, that's correct. In
Okay.
our experience, yes.
Okay, but the official criteria doesn't stay so. Oh, doesn't say so. The official criteria allows the PhD candidates to apply as well. But
Yes, so
okay.
I can see the question. So I have recently applied under exceptional promise academia and research, got rejected. I appealed, currently waiting for response. The reason I got rejected is a PhD equivalent experience. Um, yes, that's exactly correct. That's exactly what we've been experiencing with our applicants as well. So if even though they are writing in the guidance that you can apply with PhD or equivalent, in our personal experience, we've never received positive reply without PhD. So for currently, we ask for PhD, yeah, for the applicants who are applying via science route.
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, yeah, this is the criteria.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
also important point, both for technician and for science. Uh, the guide itself is very flexible, and sometimes it works for you, but sometimes it works against you. So it's actually a very good question. In technician, in tech, it's also happens a lot. So for example, what I give as an example, even though we see in the guide that both technical and business applicants are allowed and to apply, we see more rejections for business applicants and higher like publicity needed, um, rather than tech applicants. So the guide itself is very controversial as well. So it could be written like one thing, but in reality, it's different.
And by
So
business applicants, you mean like, for example, people in marketing for innovations or people, for example, in business development,
yeah, yeah, I will
not only the
share.
business owners, but just the, yeah.
That's
Go.
correct. Yeah. And business owners, they could be divided into two things. They could be founders with technical background and business background. So depending which founder you are, you will be considered as technical or business applicant. We will be sharing the guide itself at the end. We have the QR code for this. But if you haven't seen the guide, yeah, we have this in the presentation as well.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, Question regarding the HR and QAs not being eligible. Yes, it's officially stated. It's not from the experience. From experience, actually, we have HR who just received an endorsement in October. So it is quite controversial, I would say. Yeah, they don't, in the guidance, it is they don't receive application from HR and QA.
Mhm.
Very, as I said, very depends how you structure your application. So how you focus. So with this specific person that we applied, so she was HR lead, and she actually developed like software, the solution within the company, quite big product-led company. So even though her role was HR, the impact was very different. Moving further, let's. So with eligibility, we stopped.
So don't worry, guys, we will cover all
Yeah,
your
we'll
questions
cover
at the end.
this. I know a lot of individual questions. So public profile. This is actually very important bit. Usually I start and dedicate like 20 minutes for public profile. Um, Out of 15 documents currently in the last year, what technician wants to see in our practice, it's 6 documents dedicated to publicity. Publicity, when I say it's your individual publicity outside of your workspace. So we look at your 5 years, and this is actually where I will start the application if you are preparing to apply, because this usually takes months or years for like to create a decent media profile. So what is considered public track? So first of all, you look at your 5 years, and um, what is considered public track is articles, publication, interviews, as I said, in pre-moderated platforms. No Medium, no LinkedIn, no corporate blogs will not count. So this is something individually under your name. So good example would be Haber, HackerNown, FinExtra. There are lots of tier two, tier three media. So not only don't aim at like Startup Magazine, Forbes. Obviously, you can. They are qualified, but very expensive to get in there. Conferences, talks, or panels. So anything that is niche, product-led conferences. I will stop here. So you don't only need to be keynote there. You can be moderating the discussion. You can be part of panel discussion. You can be just like guest or workshop moderators. Everything will count. What we will look or assessor look usually at the name of the conference and yeah, name no, name of the conference or name of your speech. So this is what actually counts. Podcasts, guest appearances also. Make sure that you focus on tech related podcasts. If it's career related, this will not work. Open source projects or public launches, also considered as public track. As I mentioned previously, what endorsing body is looking for, your impact. It's forks, stars, anything that shows your impact. Award grants shortlist. So if you've been given an award, usually this is for UX UI applicants or for ML applicants as well. So there are some competitions as Kaggle competition. If you want some of those, you can apply. You can include award there as well. So something that is not mentioned here is also hackathons, right? So judging, oh, it's here, judging hackathons will be considered. Teaching at universities also will be considered as your publicity. So, um, mini exercise for you, what we actually ask to do, and we do it on the first call. This is the table, right? So you need to write down everything you have and then to assess whether it's like good or not. How we assess, so usually people who come to our calls, so we either do it on the call or they come with this. So you need to write your type of activity. I've mentioned them here. So this is type of activities. Um, then you write the month and the year, which is very important because we have 5 year window and we can't apply even if your patent was more than 5 years and it's still eligible. But for the global talent application, you will not be able to include it. And then you need to include link to the activity. So how we will assess. So I usually look at the period, right? When was it? Second, me on my team will look at the if it's credible activity. As I said, Medium, LinkedIn wouldn't count, corporate wouldn't count. So how many different formats you have. Sometimes, so be spread across different channels and formats. So what it means, sometimes people come and they have only like 10 articles or 10 nonprofits or 10 something. So this is good that you have them, but you need to diversify your activity. Usually we aim at 10 public activities and 3 to 4 formats. Um, Align clearly with your field of expertise. This is very interesting. This is very interesting point because sometimes when you move further in your career, even though you apply as a software engineer, so majority of your public track will be about leadership or career, like career switch. We actually have had this kind of applicant 3 months ago. In this case, you will need to redo your all public profile because it has to be aligned with your field of expertise. If you're applying as a software engineer, your publicity needs to be software engineer. Sit outside your day-to-day company responsibilities. Good example is mentorship within big companies like Meta, Google. Unfortunately, will not be considered as a public profile because it's inside your company experience. And last one is appear in reputable tech-focused media outlets. Their outlets should be niche, and I think this is very strong point comparing to US visa because for US they are looking mostly for major media, whereas in UK they are still looking for niche. It could be tech related niche media, which are not that major, for example, and it gives you ability to apply there. Okay. Then I have score yourself. So basically it's 2 exercise. Once you will fill this table, you will understand how many activities you have out of 10 for tech applicants and out of um, 12 for business applicants. Sorry. Do you have any questions? Let me look into the chat.
Yeah, there are so many questions, to be honest. Lots of them, if to summarize, are around PhD. So people are asking, like, from my understanding, there are quite a few people who don't have PhD yet, but they want to apply. And they're asking, what if they don't have PhD, but they have lots of like achievements in academia? Like, let me read that question. What if my research is practical and applicable for broader audience? For example, if I publish regular op-eds for Forbes, Kazakhstan, the Times of Israel, the LSE, Inequalities Institute, etc., etc. But from my understanding, still not having PhD. Also, like another question is, what if there's no PhD? Do you know any successful cases when the person didn't have PhD but got the global talent visa? Can you share some pointers as to their success and what made the app strong for being granted the visa? And yeah, so like pretty much, if you don't have PhD, how can you compensate with the other activities in science? And do you know the particular like success stories around that?
Um, So for PhD, you have 3 or 4 routes. So if you apply aiming through peer review, I haven't received any positive feedback applying without PhD. In our experience, it's refusals and people will not apply again. So you might aim for like fellowship route if you have already like contract or fellowship. So there are 2 or 3 routes like this. So, but if you're aiming at peer review, I've never, I haven't seen the positive feedback applying without PhD. Um, Moreover, we don't take the cases ourselves if the candidate unfortunately has PhD. Sometimes it's even more yeah, so the question will be, is there any chance to receive PhD? Are you at which stage are you in? So usually some people they basically finalize the whole PhD but didn't haven't done the dissertation itself, right? So it's for myself, unfortunately, it will no. In our experience, we never dealt with people without PhD.
Okay. But for example,
Focus.
if there is no PhD, like what would be your recommendation apart from get PhD? What do you can you like You don't know any success stories of a person who didn't have PhD.
No, only if you apply, like depending what you want to apply for. If it's peer review, so basically, Olga, in science route, they have like four types of visa: peer reviewed, fellowship, something else. Like so, we ourselves only apply for peer review because like it makes sense for us. If you already have invitation like fellowship from university, people usually don't need help of advisors. So that's yeah.
Yeah.
The,
Okay. So how is it easier for you if you read the questions yourself or if I read them for you? Like, I think we
um,
started the question timed
yeah. So
30:25.
yeah,
Yep.
so I will just two slides. So I will send you your presentations. This I will not read. This I actually took from our team. Like this is the thing that we usually our case writers have before applying. So I think it will be if you're applying yourself, it will be helpful for you. So this is some details that you should be focused on, like before applying, right? So you should check the formatting, the recommendation letters, the criteria. So you can hyperlinks. So these guys, you can. This is actually one of the most common things why people receive refusals. It's actually that they don't do formatting correct. So I've included some helpful things here that you can check as well. So please make sure you I already mentioned that hyperlinks. So the Tech Nation they not open hyperlinks. So make sure you formatting correctly. LinkedIn inconsistency. This happens all the time. So for example, person is applying for the visa, but they have CV but haven't changed LinkedIn. This is very usual thing why people receive refusals. The first thing they actually check is publicly available things and recommendation letters. Many people receive a refusal for templating because when you're creating the recommendation letter for someone else, you will create it at the same format, which is also a very common mistake for refusals. So this is just it. Just wanted to say that I included this as a slide. Yeah, and this is it. We can go to the questions.
Yeah, actually, we covered that one. Start with the question from time for 1:29, 13:29. So that's the. By the way, guys, I'm not an expert. I just had my personal experience in getting rejected with the global talent and then receiving it from the after the second time applying. And recently, I was contacted by a random person on LinkedIn, and she was rejected because she used ChatGPT for her personal statement. So the only reason they rejected her was because they checked whether she used AI for the personal statement, and she did, and that was the result for the reason for the refusal. So be careful about using the ChatGPT. It's yeah.
I think with ChatGPT, I will be very honest with you. Obviously, all of our team they also use some LLMs. I think it's just the way you use it because we had the workshop last week for our writers.
Mhm.
So with the ChatGPT and stuff, I think what you also guys the pattern is to generalizing. So what ChatGPT does, they if you write something, so it will generalize everything, but if you use it correctly. So we also have obviously our writers they use for some bits and pieces LLMs, but the thing is the idea is to see this narrative that you do within the all of the documents. So it can't the mistake would be to repeat yourself the point that you're trying to make uh, time to time, right?
Mhm.
So that would be the big mistake. So if you putting all of your documents into ChatGPT, probably you will get rejected because you will never get this free page limit and consistently. But yeah, this is a good point.
Okay.
Okay, let me. I will start from the beginning, right?
No, you start from the what is an applicant? What if an applicant is found a founder of two different businesses in different fields with profits and non-profit
Mhm.
characteristics? Should one be prioritized over the other, considering the endorsing body?
Okay, okay. Uh, what if an applicant is a founder of two different businesses in different fields with profit and non-profit? Um, This is a good question. So so the question is, one is with profit, another with non-profit. So very depending on strategy. So again, what I would do, because sometimes you can, what we will do, sometimes we're using profit business in work projects, but non-profit in public profile. So it's depending, as I said, like at the end, I shared the framework. So when you write down how many publicity you have, so what you can do, it's depending on your strategy. If you don't have any publicity, I would use non-profit for public track, and then you will have one out of like 10 or 12. And then profit business, you can, if it's product led and you have a business role, you can apply, it's in mandatory criteria.
Mhm.
So if if this was a question, if not,
It
just take
depends on the publicity, right? So the
yeah.
choice of business is based not only on the criteria of profit, but also on the criteria of publicity.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So yeah,
okay,
it's just different roles. So for
on the roads.
if we understood the question correctly, so if
Yeah.
I think the question is from Gulihan.
Yeah. I think yes, they understood it correctly. So pretty much if one company has profit, the other company doesn't have profit, like which one to apply with. It's actually also like you can no, nothing stops you from applying with the with both companies because you're applying as an individual. Can you say like, oh, I'm an owner of two companies and one is doing this, one is doing. What do you think about it, Anna?
The the problem, there is no right wrong answer, right? So it's
Yeah.
depending on the strategy of the person. For example, that's why I never like,
Hmm.
so it could be applied through different lens. So depending what they have. So if we will go deeper, so we need to understand the company one, profit one. Is it product led? What kind of project there is? What kind of visuals they can show for to prove it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
regarding the HR and QAs not being eligible, yes, it was actually stated in the Tech Nation guide. It's quite straightforward that they are not. I'm not sure if they changed it or not. The last change was from 4th of August, but yeah, it's non-eligible roles.
Okay, that was the question from Elvira. Next one is
Mhm.
Yolanda.
I'm an
Hmm.
activist with over 15 years, and I have public community of 21,000 to advocate for invisible disabilities and activism in social media. And I'm founder and CEO of nonprofit. I cannot apply even I have social media exposure by invites from newspapers, radios. Look, the thing why I showed you the whole presentation, yes, we can answer this together, right? So if you're activist with over 15 years and you have a public community to advocate for invisible disabilities and activism. So I had the slide about tech relations. So how this is related to tech. If you don't have any connection to tech, unfortunately, you will not able to use it.
Hmm. In this
So
case, what is the best route for people who are just like, I don't know, influencers and with this active social position? Can they are still apply for the global talent visa or they have to
only
go?
if they work alongside the product-led company. So if you're only influencer or freelance agency, you are not eligible, as we are stated in the beginning. So if you
Mhm.
are in parallel working for some companies, for example, that are product-led, they have software that we can apply.
For example, some people, what they do, they use this and they kind of create the narrative that it is all related to tech somehow, or tech is being used. For example, Yolanda, you can, I don't know, think about creating a platform around your activities, and then you would be applying as a founder of this platform, and then all of your publicity would count if you have kind of a
That's
digital
correct.
platform or
But
something. Yeah.
remember that you need to show 5 years window. So if you're creating the platform, you usually need to show it that you've created it, like you've been creating it for the future
It's
five
two,
years.
right? If you apply for promise.
Um,
If you apply for global talent promise, promising talent, then not 5 years. No?
yes, but they still look at five. So they will still look at what you did. Like, for example, you studied bachelor's. Okay, then that your LinkedIn needs to state that you've been studying.
Okay, okay.
So the
Mhm.
CEO non-profit, good. This again needs to be seen if there is any, if you want to use it as a work project, you need to show that it's some product, software inside this non-profit. If you want to use it as a publicity, you need to show the, yeah, you can use it as a one of the non-profit, as a one of the public activities.
Okay.
Um, What are your advices for people who to pursue research path route for and they don't have PhD?
Okay. So we discussed that already.
QAs could try with QAs and leadership background. Elvira, thanks for asking. So for QAs, you will still need to show the impact. So it's very difficult, very risky. We never had cases with QAs, but how you can avoid this risk is your public profile in basically your publicity and not stating that you're QA. Like you are QA who created a platform or you navigated something. So just QA when you tester, unfortunately, that will not be considered. So it's very difficult to show the impact
Mm-hmm.
because I can explain this. So for work projects, you usually identify the projects and then you show the visuals, right? So for visuals, software engineers or MLs, they show the architectures, lines of code, literally. So you need to think what you will show as a QA, as a like as a proof of your work. So did you like have you developed some system that help to optimize the processes? How do you have some framework? So you need to think what kind of evidence you will show.
Okay. Anna, I think we covered our like questions
Mhm.
below, and the next one we haven't covered is from Maral,
I,
from 143.
I also have just one second. Is it possible to change the visa from the spouse to global talent? Absolutely, but remember that your settlement will start from zero because
Ah,
the
okay.
spouse route is non-working route. So if you're, for example, 2 years on spouse visa and then you switch, you start your settlement from day one.
Unless you're a spouse of a British person, it's no?
Same.
Okay, okay.
Um, what if my research is practical? What if my research is practical and applicable for broader audience? For example, I publish.
I think we covered this
Yeah,
one. Another one we haven't covered is from 143, 1 hour, 43 minutes. From
143.
Maral. Hello, thank you for hosting the webinar. Could you confirm whether community building work, like organizing the inaugural hackathons and other initiatives with major events aiming at development local community in tech, will be considered? Or, as you mentioned, it has to be only participating as a judge or other roles if you talk about hackathon, for example.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good question. Yes, it will be considered. It's not on this list, but yes, we have another point is it's called like organizing big tech-led product initiatives. So this would be just considered like local community will be considered any communities, Telegram chats, any chats, any articles will be considered as organizing work. It will
Okay.
be it could be used.
Okay. The next question is from Bruna. I wonder if the recommendations can come from the same institution, for example, three professors who I work with in the university.
Uh, no, if we're talking about science route, there are actually very specific requirements for recommendation letters. So one is, just one second. So one should be from any eminent person in the UK who knows you and your work. And usually it's the person who's your PhD, yeah, someone who you work with. Another person should be from a UK organization. They might know your work, but not doesn't know you directly. So they have specific list of UK organization who you need to check. So it's for science. Also important point for science route, you only need two signatories. For tech route, you need three. So if you are talking, Bruna, if you are talking about science route, they kind of can if they meet these requirements. One requirement is you person in UK organization, another person who knows you and your work and lives in UK.
Okay. Another question from Guli Khan. Would a civil society, economic society be considered a product led?
If they have a product inside. Like literally, if you have,
Like digital platform or something
yeah,
like
if you have digital platform with visuals, with so we need like need to know what this economic society does.
that. Okay. All
Mm.
right. What are your advices for people who
Yeah, I think
that's that okay, Abir again. What are your advices for what is your advice for people who to pursue research path route 4 and they don't have PhD?
honestly, I'm not able to answer. Like I need maybe to talk to the team. But as I said, in our experience, we've never research
Receive
pathway. Yeah,
positive
we never worked with applicants. So for science route, we worked only with peer review, unfortunately.
with the PhD, with people who
Yeah,
have
with the
PhD.
PhD. I mean, if
Okay.
the person doesn't have PhD, we will not work with them because we are not interested in refusals or either, right? So
Yeah.
it's depending.
So you don't even take the cases because
No.
your statistics show that the risk
Yeah.
of the rejection is so high that it doesn't make sense to apply if you don't have a
Yeah,
PhD.
yeah, sure, Abir. I think it's in the presentation. I have the at the end. I have the you can write me.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
want to apply
So
for a peer reviewed route. Wow, so many PhDs. Actually, never met so many PhDs at school. Um, Most important for peer review, they usually ask. We usually ask the checklist is grants, uh, fellowships. If you have any articles, usually people give this Google Scholars and the articles, and speaking engagements. So if you have and patent, so patent, grants, fellowships, articles, and speaking engagements. So this are the five.
mhm.
What?
But also there's no PhD. The person doesn't have PhD. Only second year in the
Yeah,
PhD.
still they can prepare. We work with candidates, for example, who are completing the PhD, and they still, but you still need to be active.
Okay. Is there
It's
any other visit might be considered for the influencers? Okay, what was your recommendation for influencers?
I would go for a skilled worker or for opening like self-sponsored route. It's called, but it's self skilled worker, just opening the company and hiring yourself. There are some risks associated with this, and
Mhm.
then innovator founder. I would consider the innovator founder thing. Um,
Mm. So basically, if I'm an influencer, I have to open a company in the UK and I have to hire myself as a skilled worker. That would be the best.
I mean, it's straightforward. Still, some risks. You need to hire like and lots of costs. So
Yeah,
it's like to set up a company and
yeah,
continuing running it. It's like very
yeah.
costly, I would say. Depending if I would reply like this. If you're considering work routes, there are only two left: with a skilled worker and innovator founder. Maybe you consider like family route, spouse visa also should be considered, right?
Mhm.
UK, unfortunately, they are not like US. They don't have any influencer. Like they are very, yeah. For this type of routes, not yet any visa
Ah, okay.
discount.
So if you're an influencer, it's apply to the for the US visa. Easier,
I mean,
easier. It's just easier.
to be honest, it is easier. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
it is. I
Okay, so you wanted to cover this slide as well.
Yeah, just guys, yeah, we also included two slides or because that you shared. So one is technician guide. If you haven't seen it, I've included it. It's basically the everything that you have. It comes from the guide. So this is and then we have the alumni network. So you if you register, you can receive, you can ask the questions, and if you're gathering the documents yourself. So you can ask questions and get replies from people who received the applications themselves, for example, right? So,
Yeah, so
uh,
this is the few resources and this alumni network, they people just other people would help you to review your case, for example,
yeah,
and give you some feedback how to improve it. So pretty much you just like seek for recommendations from other like
yeah.
people.
So it's
Yep.
just peer network, and yeah. So Q&A with us. If you guys have anything, yeah, anything to ask, we have my LinkedIn, my WhatsApp. But yeah, if we spoke with Olga, so if you will need like a free relocation call, you can book it. And for webinar only people, we have the discount if you're interested in the services. So pretty much it. Thank you for this. I know it's a lot of information, always trying to make it really easy,
Yeah.
but to be honest, it is a lot. Just
Yeah, I think thank you so much, Anna. I think the slides would help people to digest the
yeah.
information. There was a recommendation, like not recommendation, the ask of from someone like let's connect and just like share, create some space to discuss these kind of things. We may have a separate group on our WhatsApp group. So there is a
Mhm.
big WhatsApp group, guys, with a lot of subgroups. If you're not a part of it yet, you have to, yes, just join it. I will try to share I will try to share it now. 1 second.
Thank you, Olga, for moderating. It was
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much. Um, okay. Add members. Okay, I am sharing the link now, guys. Just you can join this WhatsApp group, and we will try to create a separate subgroup related to the visas. Or if we don't, just ask your questions in the entrepreneurs group because in the entrepreneurs chat there are a lot of people who are, applied for the visa, so it's easier to find the answer. Or in any chat because there are quite few chats there. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, and this presentation will be shared. And yes, have a great day. And yes, if you have any questions, reach out to the admins of the WhatsApp group. Okay, thank you, guys. Bye bye. Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for your presentation.
thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.